Hey everyone, it's Normal Guy of the North and welcome back to the channel. Today we're stepping into a conversation that every veteran player, every cruiser main, and every destroyer captain has had at some point. The battleships that the World of Warships community absolutely dreads seeing on the enemy team. Now this isn't a damage ranking, this isn't about win rate, this is about hate factor, like the ships that consistently spark frustration, ignite Reddit threads, and force players to adapt their entire flank the moment their silhouette appears on the horizon. So today we're counting down the top 5 most hated battleships in World of Warships, based on community sentiment from forums, CC commentary, Reddit consensus, Steam discussions, and overall meta impact. And we're going to break down exactly why players can't stand to play against them. Let's get started. Coming in at number 5. At number 5, we start with a ship that commands both awe and exasperation, the British steel battlecruiser Incomparable. Incomparable is one of the most controversial designs in the game because it does something that feels fundamentally wrong to a lot of players. It has battleship firepower with cruiser level concealment. This means Incomparable doesn't fight fair fights. It hunts, it stalks, it picks its moment, appears from nowhere, and deletes a full health cruiser or battleship with those monstrous 500 8mm guns. The community frustration isn't about sustained damage. It's about the instant one-shot punishments that feel unavoidable. Players often describe fighting Incomparable like this. You're sailing normally, you're angled, you're positioned correctly, and then suddenly your screen goes black because the ship with the best concealment among battleships decided you no longer exist. And because it's a steel ship, many players can't simply obtain it. They only get to experience it from the receiving end. It's not the most hated ship in the game, but when it strikes, people remember. And that's why Incomparable locks in our number 5 spot. At number 4, we shift from stealth to precision. Let's talk about Slava, the Russian Research Bureau battleship known for one thing above all else: laser-guided long-range citadels. If Incomparable deletes you at mid-range, Slava deletes you from positions you didn't even think were possible. Its dispersion curve, especially beyond 18 kilometers, is famously unforgiving. But not for the Slava player. It's unforgiving for everyone else. This is the quintessential, you showed broadside for 1 second at max range, and suddenly you've taken 30 to 50,000 damage experience. Players hate fighting Slava because it punishes even momentary mistakes. It promotes extremely passive long-range play. You can't easily retaliate because it sits further back than most battleships can reliably reach. And the shells are so accurate that traditional counterplay, wiggling, angling, dodging, often feels pointless. When a Slava is on the enemy team, entire flanks slow down. Cruisers lose the ability to support because a single broadside error turns into instant port. Slava doesn't feel overpowered in every match, but when it does hit, it leaves people questioning why that level of accuracy exists at tier 10, and that is why Slava earns the number 4 position on today's list. At number 3, we arrive at a ship that has earned its own chapter in World of Warships history, a ship so infamous that even years after its removal, players still complain about it, the British battleship Thunderer. This is the ship that redefined the term HE spam battleship. With battleship survivability, cruiser-level accuracy, and an incredibly potent high-explosive shell, Thunderer can sit at 18 to 20 kilometers and set fires with relentless consistency. This is a ship that melts targets not with skillful aim or precise positioning, but through sheer volume of accurate HE shells. Here's why Thunderer drives players crazy. It forces enemies to constantly damage control and repair fires. It punishes battleships and cruisers equally. It feels like the HE version of Slava. Consistent pressure, constant chip damage, and many players consider it the single most frustrating HE dealer the game has ever produced. What makes Thunderer uniquely hated is its psychological impact. Fighting it feels like slowly drowning. Every salvo lands, every salvo burns, and there is no satisfying way to fight back without exposing yourself to return fire. Even today, long after its removal from the armory, the community still brings up Thunderer whenever discussions about overpowered HE mechanics appear. And for that reason, Thunderer is firmly positioned as the number 3 most hated battleship in World of Warships. Coming in at number 2 is a ship that fundamentally changed how players approach close-range combat, the German Tier 10 battlecruiser Schlieffen. The community doesn't just dislike fighting Schlieffen, they fear fighting Schlieffen, because this ship represents everything players complain about with secondary heavy battleships, but amplified to an extreme. Let's break it down. It has some of the strongest secondaries in the entire game. It has German battlecruiser torpedoes with dangerous firing arcs. It has excellent concealment for a battleship. It has hydroacoustic search, making ambushing it extremely difficult, and once it commits to a push, it becomes a giant buzzsaw that tears through cruisers, destroyers, and even other battleships. Schlieffen encourages a very specific playstyle: press W, push hard, overwhelm anything in close range, and the community hates that because it removes counterplay at close distances. It can erase entire flanks with almost automated secondary power. Torpedoes give it an extra layer of lethality many players aren't prepared for, and when Schlieffen commits, it often feels like nothing on your team is capable of stopping it. Players describe fighting Schlieffen as a timer. The moment it spots you on its flank, your ship's survival becomes a countdown. And that overwhelming, relentless, unforgiving pressure is why Schlieffen takes the number 2 position. And now we arrive at the number 1 most hated battleship in World of Warships, a ship that has dominated community discussions, balance threads, and complaint posts since the moment it appeared: the Pan-American battleship Libertad. Libertad represents a modern evolution of everything players disliked about Schlieffen, but condensed, refined, and adjusted into an even more oppressive package. Here's what makes Libertad uniquely infuriating to fight: unmatched secondary power for its tier and playstyle, even after multiple nerfs. Great survivability, allowing it to brawl recklessly and still win. Effective concealment, letting it close the gap faster than expected. Strong heals and durability that extend its life far beyond what players consider reasonable. And most importantly, it enables and even rewards extremely low-skill, forward-aggressive gameplay. The community sentiment is consistent and overwhelming. Libertad feels like a ship that plays itself. Its secondaries do the work. Its armor absorbs mistakes. Its heals erase punishment. Its speed and stealth enable unearned positioning. And once it arrives on your flank, there are very few ways to stop it. Players describe Libertad as a brawler that's too forgiving, too effective in the hands of inexperienced players, too impactful in random battles, and simply too strong for its tier, its role in the current game ecosystem. Libertad has become the modern poster child for power-crept brawling battleships, and for many players, it is the single most hated battleship in the game today, and that's why Libertad is number 1 on our list. And that wraps up our countdown of the top 5 most hated battleships in World of Warships. Each of these ships has a unique way of creating frustration, whether it's a sudden burst damage, overwhelming secondary firepower, long-range precision, or downright oppressive mechanics. If you fought these ships, you know exactly why they made the list. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. Feel free to click on the videos on your screen for more World of Warships content. But as always, take care, stay safe, and I wish you all the best. See you in the next one, and bye for now.